Unlike Paul, I will highlight that I'm more motivated by the application of technology than the technology itself, and hopefully that will complement some of the stuff that Paul took through. It is the application of technology that drew me to Green Frog Systems, because we're helping to shape the future of smart communities by delivering the backbone infrastructure necessary to move people beyond the mains grid through sustainable technologies. The economic and environmental benefits of solar energy, built on a well-designed and reliable product line, backed by strong values of trust, integrity, quality and professionalism, supports our team's objective to make a difference. So I wonder if Edison ever anticipated, I wonder how he'd react to us using the term smart lighting. Having initially filed for a US patent for the first commercially practical incandescent light, and then developing a company to deliver the electricity to power and light the cities of the world, I'm sure that Edison would have thought he created smart lighting. Interesting, since 1880, the principles of traditional lighting haven't changed dramatically. Fluorescent lamps were developed in the 1920s and high-intensity discharge lamps from the 1930s, including high-pressure sodium lamps from the 1960s, which today still illuminate many of our major roads and highways. However, as I mentioned, the principles of lighting have remained pretty much the same. I actually noted in some of the literature I was reading that Thomas Edison is reported to have stated, "We'll make electricity so cheap that only the rich will burn candles," if only he was managing our energy utilities today. So I wonder if Edison ever anticipated the extent to which we are lighting up the world today. Today there are well over 2.3 million lights in service in Australia, with around 33% on main roads and 67% on local roads, which are being maintained by the councils. In 2016, it was estimated the annual cost of public lighting in Australia exceeded $125 million, while the overall cost of street lighting is estimated to be $420 million per year, based on averages of total annualised costs of capital, maintenance, retail energy, network distribution, electricity losses, environmental charges, and the market charges, the most common types of utility-owned luminaires. Apart from the cost, street lighting is believed to be the single largest source of carbon emissions from local government, typically accounting for up to 60% of total carbon dioxide emissions. As you are likely aware, the billing of street light energy consumption is based on calculations that can be considered imprecise at best. The poles and wires are owned by the utility, who also control the costs. From the broad range of smart devices that could be utilised on the energy infrastructure, AE mode determines those to be certified, while approval for the actual deployment is tightly controlled by the utility. Having control over the assets supports the deployment of best-of-breed technologies that let you scale to deliver on your smart city objectives. To gain some control over these costs, councils such as Port Hedland have installed smart meters to take control of their operating expenses, while also utilising smart controls to benefit the environment. Port Hedland is an important area for sea turtles who come to breed along this coastline. Lighting levels were disrupting these cycles, so now it is possible to dim or turn off these lights during the season and not be charged for the energy not consumed, which is obviously not always the case. So as we will see later in this presentation, many councils and commercial businesses are adopting solar lighting to avoid costly installation and ongoing utility charges. Deploying solar negates the needs for meters, while providing a platform for delivering on your smart city and environmental objectives. The increasing number of people living on Earth and the corresponding increase in inappropriate and unshielded outdoor lighting has resulted in a brightening night sky that has obliterated the stars for much of the world's population. Although having looked at the skies last night in Hamilton, you still get to enjoy a number of those views that the larger centres don't see. There is a growing body of evidence linking the brightening night sky directly to measurable negative impacts on human health and immune function, on adverse behavioural changes in insect and animal populations, and on a decrease of both ambient quality and safety in our nighttime environment. Excuse me for being a little parochial, however, it is estimated $5 million per annum is lost in wasted energy through upward light spill in South Australia alone. Drivers are often impacted by glare caused by intense light sources that can be uncomfortable and even dangerous if it affects their visibility. Light spill adversely impacts on homes, neighbourhoods and roads. And in many built-up areas, light clutter is the result of streetlights being badly designed or where brightly lit advertising surrounds the roadways. And I get you to consider how many streetlights are permanently glowing, consuming electricity, when there is absolutely no one in the vicinity of them. That is a lot of electricity being wasted, all of which results in carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. Many councils and commercial businesses are transitioning to LED lighting. However, that is only one dimension to addressing the ever-increasing financial and social costs. Smart lighting is designed to increase energy efficiency by adapting light intensity according to various parameters, delivering the appropriate light to the desired areas when it is required. Deployed in public areas, smart lighting improves safety and security for residents and visitors, increasing utilisation of public assets such as parks and walkways, while minimising light spill when these areas are not in use. Apart from the energy efficiency, the physical beam spread characteristics of the LED significantly reduces light pollution. Where incandescent bulbs typically illuminate in 360 degrees, LEDs provide directional lighting and through secondary optics will collimate the light rays into a controlled beam that bring full intensity to the area required by the application, road, pathway, security or whatever else it wants. This means that light spill is significantly reduced. LED lighting also demands much lower maintenance through improved longevity. LEDs have a general life expectancy of 75,000 hours, which to L70 standards, unlike traditional street lighting, would last for many, many years, about 20 years. And the Institute of Public Works Engineering Australasia has estimated that upgrading streetlights to LED would drive an estimated annual saving of 653,500 tonnes in greenhouse gas emissions each year. As we will explore further in the presentation, smart lighting will become the platform for smart city initiatives and the Internet of Everything. The efficiencies of today's photovoltaic cells and the lower production costs have seen an accelerated adoption of solar energy on homes and businesses across Australia and the rest of the world. Combining this with the positive characteristics of LED lighting and some new innovative battery technologies, we have the ideal conditions for high-quality solar lighting solutions across a broad range of applications. To be clear, I'm not referring to the solar garden lights that we purchase in Bunnings Warehouse that might only last a few weeks. I have already mentioned the energy costs of street and public lighting. However, this is only part of the picture. Installing and maintaining mains power lighting can be both expensive and disruptive when trenching is involved, especially when it crosses roads, footpaths or established grounds. With today's technologies, governments and commercial businesses are adopting solar lighting at an ever-accelerating rate. The efficacy of today's LEDs and the ability to generate and store energy means lighting that complies to a broad range of standards can now be achieved off mains grid. Smart lighting is being deployed into many applications and environments, including, as mentioned earlier, the harsh and often cyclonic Pilbara area. The City of Karratha has deployed over 300 lights across public areas to improve safety and security on roads, walking trails, parks and along the foreshore. The newly constructed Burswood Jetty, adjacent to Optus Stadium on the banks of the Swan River in Perth, has deployed smart lighting to provide a safe environment for commuters while reducing light pollution when the area is not being used. Victor Harbour Council in South Australia needed to improve safety at an intersection that had been hazardous for residents for quite some time. Mains-powered street lighting was cost prohibitive due to the location of this intersection. And you can see from this image there are several trees surrounding the intersection. However, following proper design, each of these lights has operated full capacity every night over the past 4 years since they were installed. Darwin City Council and Alice Springs Council have installed solar lights to their bus stops to improve passenger safety and the shelter light is deployed to playgrounds and picnic shelters to improve utilisation of these public assets. Importantly, these units have been designed in Australia for some of the harsh environments, while also being manufactured to be vandal resistant. And a solar lighting platform, with or without the luminaire, is ideal for powering many other devices. This is a solar-powered irrigation system that was installed in the city of Salisbury, located north of Adelaide. Adding wireless control to distributed street lighting makes financial sense, whether this is to new LEDs or retrofitting to existing fixtures. It should be mentioned, however, that simply introducing lighting control systems to traditional lighting delivers only part of the potential for reducing costs and improving our public spaces. It goes way beyond illumination. Providing connectivity between lights and implementing smart controls can deliver up to 20% in additional energy savings by increasing the adaptability of lighting timing and lighting levels. This extends to managing lighting for specific events, dimming lights around an external event if you've got an evening event, or switching off specific lights ahead of a dawn service on Anzac Day or something similar. Connectivity also streamlines maintenance, as the luminaires themselves can communicate effectively regarding their maintenance needs. You can cut maintenance costs with automatic fault monitoring and by using detailed operational intelligence to improve day-to-day effectiveness and planning. Smart lighting also becomes a key tool in developing a smart community, a means of giving areas complete digital independence, tantamount in principle to creating efficient, interconnected communities where citizens live as one with their environment. And in a solar context, organisations can also monitor energy generation, energy consumption, and reporting the environmental benefits through reduced carbon dioxide, sulphur dioxide, or the equivalents of coal reductions. There are many solutions in the market for connected lighting, and it is important to ensure your investment decisions do not restrict your options into the future. And Paul spoke to some of that. Like the ICT sector of the 1980s, most smart lighting solutions on the market today are proprietary, meaning the vendors control the strategy and decide what you can and cannot deploy. Again, like the ICT sector, open standards are being developed, and greater integration between technologies will, over time, give you the platform to meet your needs. As you've heard earlier, LoRaWAN is designed to allow low-powered devices to communicate with internet-connected applications over long-range wireless connections, and that's exactly what we're using. Smart lighting can be controlled using handheld devices or an app on your mobile phones. Green Frog Systems actually recommends against that. We recommend a centralised management platform for these connected devices ahead of programming individual or small groups of lights. Apart from the productivity benefits of managing multiple lights from a central console, security of your lighting assets and the data available is important for the safety and security of the community. An individual gaining access to the program of lights in a public area, which has been done, might assist with hiding inappropriate activities, and the absence of lights may not be reported for some time. I doubt the views from the top of a street pole will be as comfortable or as appealing as Sydney Harbour or the waterways of the Gold Coast. However, the common lamppost is becoming very valuable real estate when you consider the potential revenue generating or service delivery opportunities that an intelligent pole can create. Given the relative footprint of an intelligent pole, they may well prove to be a very good investment. Light poles may well follow a trajectory similar to that of mobile phones. It wasn't so long ago that mobile phones were suited for one purpose only, making calls. Now, making a phone call becomes almost secondary to all of the smartphone's other capabilities. Similarly, while the light poles of yesteryear provided only illumination, modern-day light poles can serve as multifunctional smart city nodes, capable of monitoring everything from crime to parking to weather. Light poles are already being used to manage parking compliance, a huge revenue source for councils without the expense of parking inspectors. On a more positive note, monitoring parking space availability can help drivers quickly identify parking spaces on the street and reduce traffic congestion and air pollution. The potential uses for light poles is seemingly limitless, with sensors to monitor air quality, seismic activity, noise levels, humidity, or the presence of UVA and UVB light. They're also being adapted for charging anything from a mobile phone to electric vehicles. And by being able to observe what is going through smart video cameras, the city can optimise law enforcement resources. Of course, many of these devices draw energy at levels traditionally beyond solar lighting solutions. Energy generation and storage and a quality product today will operate the lights overnight with the capacity to handle 3 to 5 days with little or no daylight, while some capacity is already available for low energy sensors with limited data transfers. Green Frog Systems has recognised the need for IoT-connected solar platforms to deliver more. With the support of an accelerating commercialisation grant from the federal government, we are about to launch a new solar lighting platform that will be capable of supporting many of these additional devices. An exciting development, and we are pleased that Vic Roads will be installing the first of these lights along the Lakes Entrance foreshore in the next couple of months. Vic Roads will also be implementing our solar activity monitoring management platform that was also co-funded under the same AC grant. Reporting on the reductions in carbon dioxide and sulphur dioxide emissions, the benefits compared to tonnes coal consumed, etc., were expectations of the grant, as was the need for Australian-based servers to host the software in the cloud. In many jurisdictions, both in Australia and overseas, there are examples of the energy utility transferring ownership of the light poles back to council. In the Northern Territory, Power and Water NT has delivered this for many communities who are now considering IoT applications that will benefit the citizens. I suspect many of the energy utilities will want to retain ownership of these assets so they can manage the services to be installed and the resulting revenue-generating activities. Maybe we will see an increase in privately owned or council-owned poles into the future. So what does the future hold? The future for smart cities, smart communities and smart lighting is really exciting as sensing and communications platforms rapidly evolve. Li-Fi, a groundbreaking light-based communication technology, will enable faster, more reliable internet connections, even when the demand for data usage has outgrown the available supply from existing technologies such as 4G and Wi-Fi. It will not replace these technologies, but it will work seamlessly alongside them. Like Li-Fi, LiDAR uses light just as sonar uses sound waves and radar uses radio waves to create a map of the environment. It works by rapidly firing lasers up to 900,000 times per second in some systems at a target and then measuring the time for the light to bounce back off the target. And one topical adoption for this technology that we're becoming more aware of is obviously guiding autonomous vehicles. So what I hear you say. I suggested the pole will likely become highly valuable real estate, which apart from energy efficient smart lighting, will host sensors and other intelligence devices to monitor the local environment. This data will help to control numerous devices, including autonomous vehicles, traffic flow for emergency vehicles, or pedestrian movements based on other events in the area. These sensors will also deliver valuable data insights that will inform future planning and define the provision of services. Smart lighting is already delivering some great benefits to our communities. However, I suspect these are still early days. Maybe this is bringing to life Big Brother from George Orwell's novel 1984, where every citizen is under constant surveillance by the authorities. That is more a debate around data governance and privacy, etc. However, I remain optimistic that the contribution of these technologies will be positive. Only time will tell. Thank you.